Hey, Miss McKee here. Happy Thursday. Today we are going to be looking at some revision and editing. So take your pencil, put your RLA teacher's name at the top. Today I am going to do, let's do Mrs. Morris, who most of you know as Miss Hardy. She got married. It was awesome. Is proud of, and then you put your name right there. I'm using red today in honor of my Phillies because it is baseball season. Hope everybody wears their jerseys tomorrow in honor of the greatest sport ever. Okay, here we go. Home Sweet Home. This is a revision and editing article. So what we're going to talk about first is in this box right here. Revision and editing. What is the difference? People think that it's the same. Revision and editing are both used to improve writing, and you can use them to help you find mistakes in other people's writing or to improve your own. But they're different. So editing focuses on something called cups. And so what you're going to do is you're going to write down what I do. You're going to make sure that when you edit a paper, you're looking at capitals. We'll say capitalization so you don't get confused. So you need to capitalize the beginning of sentences, names, places, months, titles. When you use the word I, the letter I by itself. Editing is also making sure that the usage is correct. That means that your nouns and your verbs match. Editing is also looking for punctuation. So making sure all those lessons that Miss Bear is giving you about comma guy, right? And making sure that you're using periods. Also, spelling. When we're editing, we're looking at spelling to make sure that all your words are spelled correctly. And that's a good time to use your resources, such as dictionaries. Okay. Then we also have revision. Revision is a little bit different. So revision is not looking at those things. It's looking at adding words or sentences. In revision, we also remove unnecessary or unneeded words or sentences. When you revise, you move things around. And I'm going to change my adding to add because that's going to bother me. Okay, so you add, you remove, you move, and finally, you substitute. And the substitute is somebody who stands in for something else, so you want to find better, stronger words or phrases. So when you think about it, there are rules to writing, okay? And those rules include when you should capitalize letters, the way that you should use nouns and verbs, your punctuation and your spelling. So really, editing makes it correct. Editing makes your writing correct. And you can remember that by the cups analogy, or the acronym, sorry. And so remember that C for correct. On the other hand, revision, is making it, going with our A here, awesome. So if you can remember, editing is cups, revision is arms, then you can also remember the C and the A. Editing makes your writing correct, following all the rules, and revision just makes it better. It makes it awesome. Okay? Now, this is important to know beyond the STAR test, but also on the STAR test, it's important that you're noticing words in the questions. So look at this number 1 down here on the right. It says, what is the most effective revision to make in sentence 3? You know that you're not looking for capitals, usage, punctuation, or spelling because it doesn't say editing, it says revision. So you're looking to move words around, to remove words, to change words, to make sure that the writing is stronger, that it's better, that it's more awesome, okay? Now, a little trick that you can use are called dead giveaways. We've been teaching these for a long time, and I like to draw a little tombstone to help you remember the dead giveaways. This is a Gretchen Barnaby strategy that we learned a long time ago going to a training, and we've been using it ever since because it's actually a pretty great way to notice mistakes. So if something is a dead giveaway, that just means that it is making something else seem obvious, okay? So dead giveaways in the way that we use them are showing hints, let's say hints that something is wrong. Okay, it's a dead giveaway that this sentence is not strong if it has, that a sentence is not strong if it has these four things. Okay, so the first is going to be called throw away writing. And for this image, we use a trash can, okay? So draw yourself a trash can. Try not to use the whole box because we're gonna write something in it. Okay, a little trash can here. And in throwaway writing, this is just writing that is unnecessary, that if you took it out of the sentence would still make sense. And a big one that we see is when you're doing your answer, cite, and explain for short constructed responses. Some of you write, I know this because. I know this because the text states. Now, if we took out, you would finish that sentence. If we took out, I know this because, and we capitalize the, your writing is stronger. The text states. It doesn't sound as elementary. Okay? So throwaway writing. Another one that you can think about is called being vague. So if words are vague, we're going to put a question mark. They are the opposite of being specific. So if I said, go grab my stuff from that room, write that down. The word in there that's vague is the word stuff. If I say, go grab my stuff from that room, you don't know what stuff I'm talking about. So I want to be more specific. Go grab my computer, go grab my coffee, whatever it is, okay? So when you see that in writing or you have it in your own writing, you want to change your words, revising, right? Adding, removing, and make it a little bit stronger by being more specific. A third one, which middle schoolers do constantly, is repetition, okay? And we draw this symbol for repetition. R-E-P-E-T-I-T-I-O-N. It's a weird, confusing word, okay? So repetition. And I bet you can take a wild guess as to what repetition is. And it's when we say the same words over and over and over again. So I'm trying to think of an example. So maybe you would say, this can be seen in the text when the text says blah, blah, blah. Okay, so there's no reason to say it twice. This can be seen in the text when, and then you just take out that second one. There's lots of times that you're going to see repetition in writing, and that's just a way to, you want to try to not do that so that you can make it stronger. Stick to the point. All right, and the final dead giveaway, we have throwaway writing, we have vague, we have repetition. The final one is called no flow. Okay, so draw like a little flowy waves like this, and then you're just going to cross it out. And the reason that we call it no flow is because it just sounds weird, right? When y'all have been listening to English for a long time or speaking, some of you speak Spanish as well, and so you can hear, because of your experience with language, you can hear when something doesn't sound right. So this would just be something along the lines of, we went to the mall, it's hard for me to do this. We went to the mall shortly after we went to the mall shortly after we didn't find anything. Okay, it just kind of sounds weird. That's probably one of the worst examples I could have given you, but that's okay. It's just words that it sounds weird. The flow of it is very strange, okay? And you can hear it and you know that something's wrong. And I'm going to show you an example of that in these star questions down here. We're not even going to read this whole revision and editing passage today, but we are going to read parts of it. On the STAR test, we encourage you to read the whole thing, but for time's sake during spike time, I'm just going to go over the questions with you to kind of show you how you can use dead giveaways to help you. In number 1, it says, what is the most effective revision to make to sentence 3? So we have to go to sentence 3 and notice what we notice. Okay. It says, in pursuit of Mark, Mark's Labrador Retriever checked on his own to Myrtle Beach, which is in South Carolina. He came from Winchester, a town, Virginia, and his name is Bucky. Whoever is running the Spike Time video, I'd like you to pause it, and I want you to try to come up with 2 dead giveaways that you notice in that sentence. What are 2 things that are wrong with it? Okay, one of the things that I noticed was that it's repetitious right here. In pursuit of Mark, Mark's Labrador Retriever trekked on his own to Myrtle Beach, which is in South Carolina. He came from Winchester, a town, Virginia, and his name is Bucky. This is what I'm talking about when I say no flow. That's a much better example than my mall one. So if it just kind of sounds weird, there is no flow. So let's look at how we could make this better, A, B, C, and D here, okay? In pursuit of Mark, Mark's Labrador Retriever, there we go with that repetition again. So it's probably not going to be A. Trekking from Winchester, Virginia to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, in pursuit of his owner, Mark's Labrador Retriever named Bucky. That sounds like no flow because you're thinking to yourself at the end, what about it, right? So C, Mark's Labrador Retriever named Bucky, okay, trekked on his own from Winchester, Virginia to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina in pursuit of Mark. That one sounds pretty good. I know some of you might be thinking that that's repetition, but those 2 words are kind of far apart in the sentence, so maybe it's okay. Let's check D. Bucky, Mark's Labrador Retriever, in pursuit of Mark, there's that repetition, trekking on his own from Winchester, Virginia, South Carolina, a town named Myrtle Beach. Again, that just sounds very strange. So that would be no flow. So just by narrowing those answers down, you would know that C is the correct answer from using dead giveaways. Okay, the last one. We are going to combine. It says, what is the most effective way to combine sentences 9 and 10? So let's find 9 and 10. This is important here, okay? Here's 9 and 10. It says, then something happened. Bucky vanished. This happened shortly after Mark left for South Carolina. He was there one day and gone the next. This is kind of tricky because it's saying in a sentence that Bucky vanished first. Then the second sentence says this happened shortly after Mark left. So really, Mark left first and then Bucky vanished second. But because it's in an opposite order in the paragraph, it might confuse people. Some of our students got confused when we've done this article before. All right, so number 2, what is the most effective way to combine those sentences? Shortly after Mark left for South Carolina, Bucky vanished. That one sounds kind of good. Okay, for G, let's do this. I want you all to pause the video, and I want you guys to have a conversation. If you're running the Spike Time, pause it and look through the answer choices and see if you can identify any dead giveaways that might help you find the answer. Go ahead and pause the video. Okay, so let's look at G. Bucky vanished, and shortly after Mark left for South Carolina. So this is not the correct flow. I mean, in the wording, not really, but also in time, because I told you that tricked you up here in the paragraph. He vanished after he left for South Carolina. After Mark left for South Carolina, Bucky shortly vanished. This word makes it have no flow. If it just took that word out, after Mark left for South Carolina, Bucky vanished, that would be good, which is very similar to F. J, leaving for South Carolina, Bucky vanished after Mark. Again, this is no flow because the way it's worded makes it sound like leaving for South Carolina, Bucky was the one who left for South Carolina. So like Bucky gets in his little car and drives away, right? So the answer would have to be F. So the key takeaways here are the difference between editing and revision, making sure that when it asks you to revise, you know that you're looking to make it more awesome, knowing that if it's asking you to edit, you're looking for grammatical errors such as capitals and punctuations and spelling and usage. So that's one key takeaway. Another key takeaway is those dead giveaways. Use them to help you in your own writing, but also to help you get some questions right on the STAR test. And then finally, with the STAR questions, it's so important. It is so important that you read every answer choice and you think to yourself, what dead giveaway am I seeing that could help me with this answer choice to either choose it or cross it out? And we've been telling our students that we've been doing a lot of STAR review. You can have as many pieces of paper as you want on STAR test day. So if your teachers are teaching you out how to plan your thoughts for your ECR and your SCR and anything else that you've learned, do that, but then get another piece of paper, and on that paper, you can jot down these things like dead giveaways, or you can write number 1, and then put A, B, C, D, and then next to it, maybe just put an X or a check mark, okay, to kind of help you organize your thoughts. I'm going to show you an example real quick. So let's say you're on STAR test day, and you have a blank piece of paper, and you're on question number 40. You're almost done, okay? So you'd write 40 on your paper, and then you'd write A, B, C, and D, and then you're looking through and you're thinking, okay, that's throwaway writing. Ooh, I see some repetition. This one is a little vague, but might be good. And this one, oh, that's definitely throwaway writing. You're gonna know that your answer is C. So just a little test-taking strategy to help you jot them down real quick. All right, guys, thanks for paying attention. Make sure you have your names on your paper and give the paper to your Spike Time teachers. Happy Thursday.